So let us get back to our discussion on chastity. We introduced it before lunch. The formula is chastity equals tolerance plus shyness. Right? So we talked about the tolerance. Without tolerance, a woman will explode, demand. She will not be able to put herself below the husband and follow in his mood, and easily she can walk out. Oh, I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm getting divorced, and. You see? And we were saying tolerance can only be cultivated if there's what two qualities? Who remembers? Humility and faith in Krishna. Exactly. Good. You're learning something here. So now let us have a look at shyness. What does that actually mean? So very often, the way we use it in daily life, it is actually not really capturing the deeper meaning. The way we use it is, oh, I'm shy, I cannot say anything or something. But this kind of shyness is actually more mentalness. Right? It's being on the mental platform, being self-conscious, worrying too much what other people think about me. Right? That's not the shyness we are talking about here. That's something completely different. The way we use it usually is not really what it really means. The way we use it is more describing this mentalness, this self-consciousness. You wouldn't believe, but before I became a devotee, I was so mental. I couldn't even stop people on the street and ask them what time it is or something. I was too self-conscious. Maybe I will look foolish and so that is not shyness. This is mentalness. It's being on the bodily platform, being too worried what everybody thinks about it. That's not the shyness we are talking about here. Shyness, which we are talking here about, is something completely different. It is something very deep. Very deep. We will discover this. Let us read a few examples here. This is from Bhagavatam 1:9-27. Yeah, it's good if you follow up a little bit there with your materials, because all the quotes are there, right? Everybody has the materials? Yes? Okay. So, Prabhupada is explaining, as far as women class are concerned, they are accepted as a power of inspiration to men. Here's what we were talking about it yesterday, power of inspiration. As such, women are more powerful than men. Here Prabhupada says it again. Mighty Julius Caesar was controlled by a Cleopatra. Such powerful women are controlled by shyness. Therefore, shyness is important for women. Once this control valve is loosened, women can create havoc in society by adultery. Adultery means production of unwanted children known as Vana Sankara, who disturb the world. So my question to you, what do you think is the most important sentence here? The sentence which gives insights what shyness is. Not what the result is, but what shyness is. Prabhupada is using a very amazing analogy. What is it? What am I talking about? If you all talk at once, do you think I can hear anything? You know, just lift your hand, you know. Yes?
Not mixing up with other gender.
Huh?
Not mixing up with other gender.
Not mixing up with other gender. No, what is the key thing here in the purport? Control valve. Exactly. Prabhupada says, once this control valve is loosened, women can create havoc in society. This analogy is excellent. It's genius. Comparing shyness to a control valve. You know what a control valve is? Actually, a valve is, for example, you will be able to relate to this, it's in the pressure cooker pot. You know, the little valve there, right? And when you open it up, then the whole pressure comes out. And when it is closed, then the pressure builds up in the pressure cooker pot, right? That's a valve. Or in the bicycle, the little air valve there, you know, keeping the air inside, that's the valve. So Prabhupada gives this analogy that shyness is like the control valve, controlling what? Who can tell? What is it controlling? Lift your hand if you want to say something. What, think deeply, what is shyness controlling? What is it controlling? For those who were here yesterday, you should know. Huh?
Control the mind.
No. No. What is the control valve controlling?
Material desire, material propensity.
The feminine energy. Yes. Because we were discussing, you know, the power of the feminine energy. So we women have this powerful energy which can either bewilder and degrade everybody or uplift everybody. So this control valve is meant to keep that feminine energy within. You see? That we use it on higher levels. That's what it is. That's what shyness is. Actually, shyness means, and you better write this down because it's not on your sheet. Shyness means that we resist the temptation of enjoying the powerful effect of our energy. Right? You understand? We resist the temptation to enjoy the effects of our feminine energy. That's what shyness is. Right? In other words, not to show off. Not to use our feminine energy in order to show off, in order to enjoy the bewildering effect that, or the men are losing their mind or something. You know? Yes. That is what shyness is. That we don't want to enjoy the powerful effect which this feminine energy has. You see? That's shyness. Completely different meaning than how we use that word in the day-to-day language. Right? Yes, completely different. It simply means we don't want to show off our talent, our body, our whatever, singing, dancing, speaking, whatever. That's what it means to keep that control valve tight. You see? Yes, very, very interesting and deep. You see? So we have another verse here, 1:10:16, verse in purport. Verse is, out of loving desire to see the Lord, the royal ladies of the cruise got up on the top of the palace, and smiling with affection and shyness, they showered flowers upon the Lord. That's the verse. So now Prabhupada unpacks the whole meaning of this in a very nice and detailed way. He's saying, shyness is a particular extra-natural beauty of the fair sex, and it commands respect from the opposite sex. This incident from the Mahabharata period proves definitely that the ladies of the palace observed strict paths, restricted association with men. And instead of coming down in the open air where Lord Krishna and others were assembled, the ladies of the palace went up on the top of the palace and from there paid their respects to Lord Krishna by showers of flowers. It is definitely stated here that the ladies were smiling there on the top of the palace, checked by shyness. This shyness is a gift of nature to the fair sex, and it enhances their beauty and prestige. Even if they are of a less important family, or even if they are less attractive. We have practical experience of this fact. A sweeper woman commanded the respect of many respected gentlemen simply by manifesting a lady's shyness. Half-naked ladies in the street. So here Prabhupada is hinting, at the fashion in the West. Half-naked ladies in the street do not command any respect. But a shy sweeper's wife commands respect from all. Shyness is a check to the unrestricted mixing. It is nature's gift and it must be utilized. So, very nice, very detailed. Prabhupada is trying to give us some insight what this shyness actually means. Yes, sir? And it's interesting to understand. It comes actually along. Can we just stop walking in and out? So please lock the door. It's really disturbing, I'm sorry. What did I want to say? Yes, so shyness, yes, that's what I wanted to say. Shyness comes along with the female body. It's built into the sports car. Yesterday we were saying, male body is the tractor, female body is the sports car. Very powerful. So the shyness, actually it is built into the female nature. Actually by nature a woman is shy. She doesn't want to show off and expose her body and all this. Actually by nature it is built in. But it is human nature that we can get used to any damn thing very quickly. Even the most ridiculous thing, after a while, we consider it to be normal. That's one effect of Maya. How Maya just covers us over just within 1 or 2 weeks, because everybody else is doing it around us. So, but just by doing something for 2, 3, 4 weeks, even if it is a really obnoxious thing, we accept it as normal. You see? And this is what's going on with the shyness. It is actually built in. But if we just see long enough all women around us who have lost their shyness, then we just start thinking it's normal. And we also do it. You see? But it's actually built in. And interestingly enough, it can be cultivated. It can be gained back, even after losing it. It's just a matter of cultivation. Understanding the importance of it and following the etiquettes, then all of a sudden we get used to that. You see? I also experienced this in my own life, that before I became a devotee, I definitely had lost my shyness, But then, once we practice Krishna consciousness, we can actually get it back. You know? Yes. And we get so used to, you know, being covered nicely and not making a show of the body and everything. Even if I just don't have my chador on, I feel undressed. You know? Yes, yes. So it's something we can cultivate, we can gain back. Yes, eh? Yes. So interesting how Prabhupada is explaining, you know, that the ladies were on the rooftop. They were so shy, they were simply satisfied to greet the Lord from the rooftop. Because ultimately to greet the Lord is actually a matter of the heart. You know? It happens deep in the heart. So that's why these ladies were just perfectly satisfied, just welcoming the Lord from the rooftop, smiling in affection, showering flowers. You see? They would never want to come down there and make a show, oh, here I am, and Hare Bol or whatever, you know? How we sometimes greet the Lord's representatives. You know, we want to be there in the front and jump high, and he should notice us, and everybody else should notice us. And so, this is already an example of, you know, we lost our shyness here. We are trying to show off. This showing off, I tell you, it is such a deep-rooted thing. Oh my God, it comes in everywhere, you know, in a very subtle way. That's why we are here in the material world, because we think we are so special and unique, and we are using every opportunity to make a show out of ourselves. And that is actually contaminating our spiritual practice. We are meant to cultivate the opposite of understanding our tiny, insignificant position of servant of the servant of the servant. That's the goal of Krishna consciousness, and not be some big important person and prominent there and so on, you know? Yes. Yes, so, and Prabhupada also explains how this shyness commands respect. Yes, right? So a woman who has lost her shyness, who makes a show, all right, the man might look at her and whistle, hoo-hoo, she looks cool or something, but deep in their heart they will not respect that woman actually. They will not. They will enjoy her, okay, she's offering herself, all right, let's enjoy her, but they will not have a deep respect. Yes, and many men who have, you know, who have some spiritual intelligence, they would never want to be married to such a woman. Just the other day somebody told me that, you know, one man said, you know, I want a wife who's only showing herself to me and not to everybody else here, you know, showing off her body or something, you know. So, you know, a man who has some spiritual intelligence, he would not want to have such a wife who's just showing off. He would be too much in anxiety, you know, that somebody else snatches her away or something, you know. Yes, yes, yes. If he has some little spiritual intelligence, you know. Yes. Yes, so this shyness, see, this is the problem in Kali Yuga, that we women have lost our shyness. That's the problem. And that's why women create havoc. Yes, it just proves once again how women are actually, through their energy, they are actually leading human society. See? That's what we discussed yesterday. Not by being up front. The men, let them be up front, but the women are leading through their powerful energy. And if they are in good consciousness, the whole atmosphere is purified. If they are in bad consciousness and you know, full of hunting, fishing mentality there, then the whole atmosphere is contaminated. And Prabhupada says this, if they lose that shyness, they can create havoc. And that's exactly what's going on in Kali Yuga. Right? Women creating havoc because they lost their shyness. That's it. Yes. So that's the thing. Once this control valve is loosened, then life, this whole feminine energy is bursting out. Right? Yes. So that's why we are meant to keep that control valve tight. See, and interestingly, we might know this from the Bhagavatam, a man who practices celibacy, he is basically doing the same thing on the gross level. He is keeping that energy within and not enjoying that effect of that procreative energy, so to speak, right? So if a man practices celibacy, it is described how the semen goes up in the spine, forms brain substance. He becomes very intelligent, very good memory, strong health, effulgent. That's why all our Maharajas and strict brahmacharis, they're very effulgent and spiritually powerful, because they keep that energy within and use it on higher levels. Yes, right? Same thing is there for the women, simply on a more subtle platform. Yes, right? So if we keep that feminine energy within and use it on a higher level, that's why women become very powerful, very attractive, because they're not wasting that energy simply for, sexual attraction and being attractive physically. They're not wasting it for that, but they're using it on higher levels. Yes, right? And that's why a woman who practices, chastity, she becomes very powerful, very determined, spiritually powerful, very attractive. And she can use that energy especially for artistic things. That's why women should cultivate artistic abilities. But of course not to show off, but more, for her personal, internal, ability and cultivation, like music, poetry, dancing, whatever, All these arts, they are very much connected with this feminine energy being used on a higher level. You see? But as I said, not to show off. Then again, we are loosening the control valve there, and use it simply to show off. You see? Yeah, so that's the point. This feminine energy can be wasted on lower levels just for sexual attraction, or it can be used on higher levels. You see? And of course, a woman who uses that energy on higher levels, she becomes very deep and interesting. She develops a deep internal life. She actually becomes fascinating. You see? And a man is much more fascinated by such a woman who has some rich, deep internal life, rather than by a woman who's just wasting that energy for being attractive. Right? I do feel, some personal observation and speculation maybe, that this is also one reason why our marriages are not very long-lasting sometimes, because if a woman wastes that energy, after a short while she becomes simply boring for a man, But if she actually, keeps that energy within and uses it to develop her internal life, and she becomes very deep and fascinating and interesting, he will always be fascinated by her, because she's so different and there's so much in her to discover, that yes, there will simply be more attraction there on a deeper level, not just the physical thing, but on a much deeper level. You see? Yes. Yes. And that's what makes a woman into a little Lakshmi Devi. See, Lakshmi Devi, we know she's so chaste. She always remains on Lord Vishnu's chest there, not going anywhere else. You see? So that exactly, that chastity, that shyness plus tolerance forms the chastity. And if a woman deeply cultivates that, then she becomes empowered to be a little Lakshmi Devi there in the home. Right? Yes. But if she just uses it to show off and bewilder everybody and she enjoys the effect of her energy, well, then she becomes a little manifestation of Durga Devi there. Okay. Do we have any comments or questions about this? Yes.
Basically, you said that those like women, if they keep the feminine energy, then their internal life. So can you see what is that internal life for them to know about it?
To qualify more, what is internal life? Please switch off the mobile phone. Everybody who's in this room, please switch your mobile phone off right now. Well, it basically means, there's always the external activities in success, and there's the internal activities in success. You see? And actually Krishna consciousness is mainly about the internal life. You see? So throughout our whole life we actually have this topic of balancing the external activities and the internal activities, and especially in Kali Yuga we tend to neglect the internals and we all into the externals, because external results and success gives recognition. You see, it satisfies the false ego actually, whereas internal satisfies the soul, doesn't give much recognition, because it's internal, deep within ourselves, you see. So, developing our internal life basically means, that we can develop all kinds of abilities, but not for the sake of showing off. For example, a lady might like to write some poetry, or read poetry, or practice singing and all that. But the main goal is simply to learn these devotional arts. Not to make a show, but simply just to cultivate them, to ultimately, maybe one day, to use them in service, serving the devotees, inspiring them, not to show off. It's a question of purity of the heart, Like even if we can sing nicely, bhajans or something, we can either use it to show off with that mentality, or we can simply, in a pure-hearted way, we can use that ability just to connect with Krishna, leading kirtan, connecting with Krishna and serving others to help them to connect. But that's quite an advanced level. Very easily we use it to show off. Look at me, I'm such a good singer, here I am. So basically internal life means just to, cultivate different abilities in a pure-hearted way, not wanting to show off. Even our sadhana, this is all about internal life. Chanting good rounds, actually connecting with Krishna, crying out to Krishna, cultivating dependence on Krishna and Guru and Prabhupada and, you see. Or reading, being absorbed in the Bhagavatam, studying. This all is nourishing our internal life, and then we become very rich and deep internally. And then especially when we get older, if people don't cultivate this internal life, then when people get older, 50, 60, then they often get the so-called midlife crisis. They get all depressed, they feel useless because they can't do all these external activities any longer. And then they feel, oh, nobody needs me, and they fall in a vacuum, in a hole. There's nothing there inside where they can fall back on, and which gives them some satisfaction, you see. So to build up some internal life, very important, very important. Yes. Yeah? Makes it a little clearer. Any other question? Nothing else? Everybody understands? Shyness, tolerance, chastity. Yeah, so hang on. Is it clear how the shyness is connected with chastity? Tolerance is clear. We can't be, we can't be chaste and submit if we are not tolerant. So in shyness, obviously if a woman has lost her shyness, she can't submit, and follow. She will just always want to make a show, right? And show that she knows better and she's greater and. So that's also, that makes it impossible to be chaste. Right? So that means, even if in some regards a woman is maybe more qualified, the wife is more qualified than the husband, but if she is shy, she will not want to make a show out of that, you see, and she will let him be superior even though he's not, right? Like Gandhari blindfolding herself. So that's why the shyness has to be there, so she doesn't, fall prey to this temptation of showing off her superiority or something. Yeah? Yes?
Shall we feel shy while serving, while doing some services also for any spiritual service or like that, or just that is not show off, no? That while we are doing service to the Lord.
So, should we feel shy when we serve, and that's not showing off when we serve? Well, not necessarily. We can show off when we serve. Our whole service mood might be contaminated by a showing off mood. Yes, yes. It's not automatic that just because we do something in the temple, we are not showing off. No, no, no. Unfortunately, it's not like that. Sometimes we use every opportunity in Krishna consciousness to show off. Yes. Look at me, how I did this, how I did that. I'll put it all on Facebook. Here's the picture with me doing this and that. And. Right? Yes. Yes. So shyness in service simply means, that we don't use the service in order to show off. To enjoy the effects of our feminine energy and our abilities. That's shyness. It doesn't mean that we don't do anything. It doesn't mean that, oh, I can't say anything or something. No. But simply, it means we do it free from this desire of showing off, enjoying the effects. Yeah. Yeah, it is a pretty deep thing, you know, pretty deep thing. Like we might be in an assembly of devotees and, you know, there might be some discussion, some meeting, and we have a brilliant idea, but we might just not want to show off that we know it all better, you know, so we might just prefer not to say it in front of everybody and rather say it quietly afterwards to somebody and let it be their idea, you know, rather than, oh, I'm the hero here, I know better than everybody else, especially in the presence of men, you know. So that would also be shyness. It doesn't mean that she can't say anything, but she knows how to present it, that she doesn't show off her superiority or her greater intelligence or whatever, you know, and that she just thinks, all right, I'll better be quiet here, and I'll bring it in later in some other way. You know, that would be chaste, that would be shy. But then if a woman doesn't have that shyness, she will enjoy the possibility and opportunity to show off how she is so much better than everybody else here, you know. And then she's not shy, you know. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, anything else? Everybody's clear? Yes? You have some more energy for the next topic? Yes? Okay, so, next topic is not such a hot issue in this part of the world, but in other parts of the world it is. Topic is how to address women. Yeah? I don't know if you know, but in some parts of the world, you know, women say, oh, we should be called Prabhu. Right? You heard about that? Or people come even up with Prabhi. Right? Or whatever. So, I mean, often I ask everybody to share how they feel when somebody calls us Mataji. But I think probably here we don't even need to do this exercise because I think everybody feels completely comfortable and happy about it, isn't it? Yes? But it's interesting, sometimes when I give this course in Mayapur and I have a very mixed audience from all different corners of the world, and it is very interesting, you know, some people when I do that exercise, so please share, how do you feel when you're called Mataji? Some people say, oh, I love it. It's so, I feel so respected and honored and it is so affectionate and, oh, I really like it. And then other people say, I can't tolerate it. Oh, you know, yes. So again, you know, day and night, you know. And interestingly to observe, and I hope nobody will get offended who will watch this on internet, but I simply observe, because I'm always trying to understand and observe and analyze, and usually you can see those people who hate it, they come from parts of the world where there is not much history of spiritual culture there. The main two countries are America and Australia. These two countries, there's nothing much older than 200 years. The white person has only been there for 200 years. There's not a strong history and heritage of spiritual culture. Very different than in Europe. Like in Germany, my mother lives in the town that has 750 years of university. You know? So there's a whole different mood there. 750 years university. In her city there's so many famous poets and writers and philosophers who grew up there, who went to the university in the past 750 years. So there's a whole different, culture there. There's a heritage of spiritual culture there. And in a country like Germany, nobody finds it odd to be called Mother or Mataji. Or they even translate it in German, Mutter. They call me there Mutter Devaki. Completely normal, nobody objects. Because still that spiritual culture is hanging in the air there, but then other countries where this is not there, usually people have more of a problem with it. I simply observed it, Yes. So obviously it is related to our conditioning, our background. Actually, it is related to our understanding of mother. And this is what we want to discuss here now. The position of mother in materialistic culture. Let us collect, the position of mother in materialistic culture, which means in a culture where sense gratification is the goal of life. Sex life is the best. In such a culture, what is the position of mother? You tell me, if you even can understand what it is. What do you think? In a culture where sense gratification is the goal in life, what's the position of mother? Nothing. Yes, nothing. It's not valued, not respected. She's the poor thing who has to be at home and serve. She can't enjoy life and develop all her talents and earn money and have a good life. Poor thing. It's a pitiful condition to be a mother. What? You are only mother and housewife? Is that all you're doing? Yes. That's, the attitude towards mother in materialistic culture. Also, the body becomes less attractive after you had 2, 3, 4 children or something, goes a bit out of shape, and so she's not so interesting for her husband anymore. She can't go out at night, she has to be at home with the kids. She's like the doormat. Yes. That's the position of mother. She's like the slave. It's an exploited position, no rights, and of no value. Actually, once Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj, he gave a class in Mayapur, and it's a few years ago, and somehow it was connected to this topic of mother and woman. And he was telling this funny story. He got it somewhere from internet, I think. So a woman went to some government's office to apply for social benefits, And she had to fill in an application form, and there was asked, what is your profession? So she wrote mother and housewife. So, and then when she wanted to hand in the application form, the guy behind the counter said, sorry, this is not a profession, you can't write that. And then she was saying, well, but that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years, And they had a whole argument, sorry, mother and housewife is not a profession. So she stormed off angry, but she took an empty form with her and she went home. And then at home she filled it in again. And when it came to profession, she wrote, family and child raising technologist. So, and then next day, she handed in the form, yes, very good, family and child raising technologist, excellent. But mother and housewife? Nah. Doesn't count. Doesn't count. Doesn't count. Yes. Yes, I remember he was telling that story. So now, very clear, in a culture where sense gratification is the goal of life, mothers are losers. They can't win the race of sense gratification there. Pitiful situation. So now, what's the position of mother in spiritual culture? Huh? You tell me. Who knows? What is mother's position in spiritual culture? Yes, she is the first guru. She is the one who plants the seed of bhakti in the child's heart. It's the mother. It is. Father is busy earning money, maintaining everything, and fathers become only later more important once the child has more developed intelligence and so on, But the first 5-6 years, the child needs the mother like anything. Like anything. Not only for the seed of bhakti, but also to create the whole emotional balance in the person. Yes. Because her motherly care, that she cares for the child, gives all affection and love and everything, that establishes a person's emotional health and balance. I say. So if the mother is neglecting the child, and she's got something more important to do, and she drops her child off at the daycare center. In Europe, they do this with 6 weeks of age. They drop the young baby 6 weeks. Yes. They drop them off in the early morning, pick them up late at night. My God. And this, of course, has heavy reactions. Heavy reactions. That's why every second person in material, in materialistic countries, they're so mentally disturbed and imbalanced and psychologically screwed up because they don't have a mother. They didn't get that affection, that care. It's a proven fact that especially for men, if they don't have a caring mother, for them very difficult to practice celibacy. Yes. If a young child did not get that attention and that feminine energy through the mother's care, then for the rest of their life there is this deficit there, and they're running after this feminine energy in the form of perverted sex life. Yes. That's why, in Kali Yuga there's so many sexual perversions going on. Yes. Main reason is that. Because people don't have a caring, proper mother. Yes. Isn't that amazing? What reactions we get when we don't follow Krishna's system, when we don't do our purifying duties in roles. We get it back massively, massively. Yes, yes. And for the girls, the same thing. If the girls don't have a good mother, then they're always, they have to get attention, and they're super insecure and low self-esteem, and they always have to call for attention to themselves, and also often it manifests that they can't be controlled in regards to sex life and so on, that they try and get that affection in that way and so on, Yes. It's a whole big issue, you see. So it's at least the first 5-6 years, the child needs the mother so badly. And even when the child is a little older, 8, 10 or whatever, see, even in devotional service, we cannot neglect the children. We cannot, for the sake of serving. Yes, we have made that mistake in the beginning of ISKCON, that we neglected the children. I think I mentioned it already before, right? We neglected the children so badly, and this one boy was saying, I hate Krishna. You know, and everybody was shocked. What? He's hating Krishna. Why do you hate Krishna? Because Krishna took my mother away from me. That was his answer. Right? Yes. And that's one reason why we lost so many children of the first generation, because we did not understand. We thought, oh, this married life, family life, it's all Maya and deep dark well, and Lord Chaitanya will take care of the children personally and all this, you know, and we neglected the children. So even in devotional service, you know, we can't neglect the children. We can't. See, a child can feel if the mother has something else there in her life which is more important than being a mother. A child feels that, and he feels neglected. He feels my mother is not giving me the attention and love and care. There's something else there which is more interesting. Yes, eh? Yes. I see it often in you know, European countries, that even amongst our devotees, that often our young ladies, they hate being mother. They have this attitude, this child is disturbing my devotional life. Because of this child, I can't go to the morning program. Because of this child, I can't do service. Yes, and of course the poor child feels this. My God. Yes, and of course the child will not like Krishna consciousness. You see? So we have to completely change our attitude towards children and towards being mother. We have to understand, being mother is one of the most important services. Most important. Yes. It's not just, oh, only mother. You see, at least as long as the children are small, she has to really give all her energy and time, you see, and being the first guru for the child. If we take this seriously, this is full-time service, full-time. You know, you can engage the child with all kinds of playful ways and attractive, colorful ways to Krishna consciousness. You can have Goloka Vrindavan every single day in your home. You know, collecting things from the nature, decorating, garlands, bathing, swinging. My God, you can have every day Goloka Vrindavan in your home. It's actually the easiest and most immediate ways for a woman to remember Krishna 24 hours a day, by being a mother and engaging the child in Krishna consciousness, reading stories, playfully engaging the child. She has to think about ideas. She has to be absorbed in Krishna, otherwise she can't give anything to the child. You see? So, and the goal of Krishna consciousness is to always remember Krishna and never forget him. Goal of Krishna consciousness is not to have some amazing talents and become a big important person. No, it's not. You see? So being mother is such an important service. And this is all lost and forgotten in materialistic culture. Mothers are not counting anything. You see? But in spiritual culture, they are the backbone of human society, is the mother. Yes. She does not only serve as first guru, but she is the one who creates the whole spiritual atmosphere in the home, and thus in human society actually, because human society is built of many homes. So she is the one who creates that religious, spiritual atmosphere there. You see? Yes. So now, interestingly, of course, in materialistic culture, There's no understanding about first guru. There's no understanding about spiritual atmosphere. So in materialistic culture, a mother is reduced to just being the cook and cleaner, right? Because there's no other higher understanding there. She is losing her role of being the first guru, just the same way how the men lose their heroic task of protecting the women. So the women lose their task of being first guru and creating that spiritual atmosphere in the home. Stripped off, you see, and then they're reduced to just be the cook and cleaner. So, and of course, women are seeking more, more than just being cook and cleaner. They want to have some more, get some appreciation or something. So that's why many women enter the workforce now. They try to get their recognition and there, but in spiritual culture, the mothers, they are the ones who really, they are the backbone of humanity. Yes, probably you know these verses: Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. Right? You know this? Yes? Yes. See? Matru Devo Bhava is the top one. It, as far as I was told, it means something like be somebody for whom mother is as good as God, right? And then Pitru Devo Bhava, be somebody for whom father is as good as God. Then Acharya Devo Bhava, be somebody for whom the teacher is as good as God. Atiti Devo Bhava, be somebody for whom the guest is as good as God. But Matru Devo Bhava is the first one. It's actually the position coming after Krishna is mother. That's why Krishna has given us 7 mothers. Out of these 7 mothers, 5 are human mothers. Right? You know the 5 mothers? What are they? Huh? Our own mother? The nurse? Huh?
King's mother.
Human mother.
King's wife.
King's wife.
Teacher's. Guru's wife.
Guru's wife. Brahmana's wife. So, we have 5 human mothers. We don't have 5 human fathers, but we have 5 human mothers. So that already shows, how important this mood of mother is. You see? Yes. Interesting. Yes, so obviously, in spiritual culture, position of mother is so different than in materialistic culture. So it makes it very clear that, if we come from a materialistic cultural background, our idea of mother is not very respected. And that could be one reason why some women just hate being called mother. Because when they think of mother, they think something completely different than a person who comes from a spiritual cultural background. Right? So they think, oh no, not mother, I don't want to be the doormat, and just a slave at home. That's not what I want to be, Or maybe that, if it also depends on our experience of our own mother. Like I had the good fortune, my mother was a wonderful, most excellent mother. She really was, yes. She really planted the seed of bhakti in my heart, definitely. It was my mother, definitely. So, if we have such an experience of motherhood, oh well, then we don't mind being called mother. But if somebody has a different experience, like the mother was never at home, working, being out, this, that, oh well, if they hear mother, it doesn't bring about so many nice memories there, and then they might not want to be called mother, right? Very clear, Yeah, so it really depends on what kind of conditioning and luggage we are carrying with us there, Yes. Yes. Actually, also it is interesting that a mother is always master, but she is so much more than master. You know, if we compare calling somebody Prabhu, a woman Prabhu, or calling a woman mother, you know, a woman who understands spiritual culture, if she is called Prabhu, she will feel reduced to only being Prabhu, right? And it feels quite formal and dry, right? That affection is missing, you know. So a mother is always master, but she's much more than that. She is also mother. See? Even in the rasas, you know, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, you know, so Vatsalya, parental, is higher than Dasya. It includes it, right? So in the same way, being mother also includes always master, but she's much more than that. Yes, sir? Yeah, so interesting to understand. Yes, sir? As we know, Chanakya Pandit, he gives that instruction that all men should see every woman except his own wife as mother, right? And every woman should therefore also be addressed as mother, actually. Because otherwise, if we don't allow the men to call us mother, how can we help them to develop the vision that every woman should be seen as mother? Right? Doesn't make any sense. The poor men, how can they develop this vision of seeing every woman as mother if we don't allow them to call us Mataji, if we insist they should call us Prabhu or something? Right? Yes. So we have a few quotes here. I actually mentioned quite a few, but we will not read them all because they're very repetitive. They're pretty much the same. The reason why I put quite a few quotes, just to make it clear, it's not that Prabhupada said this only once, but he actually said it so many times. So many times. Here, first one, Bhagavad Gita lecture, July 21st, 1973. So therefore, the first training is given to become austere, tolerate, how to call other women as mother. He is learning from the beginning, a small child. He is trained up to call any woman, even of his own age, not sister, mother. This is training. Matrivat paradareshu. This is education. Matrivat paradareshu. Chanakya Pandit, the great politician, has given the definition of a learned scholar. Who is learned scholar? He has given the definition. What is this? Matrivat paradareshu. To see every woman except his wife as mother. This is education. This is education, perfection of education. When you can see all women except your wife as mother. This is education. And there's a few more times where he said that. I wanted to read one more. And they used to call every woman from the beginning of life mother. This is training. Matrivat paradareshu. From the very beginning of life, all women, they are treated as mother. That is the system, Vedic system. Everyone will call a woman as mother. Never mind whether she is younger or older. It doesn't matter. Woman has to be addressed as mother. That is Chanakya Pandit's instruction. Who is learned scholar? Who has got 3 qualifications. He is learned scholar. What is that? Matrivat paradareshu. To treat all women as mother. Nowadays it has been introduced in India Bahinji. Yes, you know Bahinji? Yes. No, this is not the etiquette. The etiquette is to address every woman, never mind whether she is young or old, as mother. So, that makes it very clear. You know? Actually, for many years I was a little confused about this too, because when I joined in Australia, I grew up in Krishna consciousness. We women were calling each other Prabhu. Believe it or not. You might think it's funny. But that was the system, you know. We were told, well, we see each other as master, we are servant of each other, so we address each other as master, Prabhu. That's what we were doing. For me, that was normal. I didn't know anything else. So then, a few months after I got married, we went to former Soviet Union and we started preaching there. We established a temple. Very dynamic temple. We had 75 brahmacharis, 30 Matajis in the ashram. Oh, I was the mother of the whole thing there. Kept me very busy. So, and there I was always trying to introduce this, saying, well, you know, we women, we can also address each other as Prabhu, but it doesn't matter how hard I tried, it was not accepted. People just didn't take it up. People, not that they didn't respect what I was saying or something, but it just didn't sit well with them, because in Eastern Europe there is still more spiritual culture there, you see. So they simply thought it was odd. They never called anybody Prabhu, even though I mentioned it so many times and tried my best to introduce this there, but it was not taken, you see. So and then for many years I was not sure, you know, how I should call young girls. I also felt, oh, Mataji, is this proper? You know, I was a little confused. And then I also only learned this really in Bangladesh, because there I found out actually the culture is that even a father will call his 2-year-old daughter Ma. Right? You do that in India here? No. See, already it is lost. Yes, but in Bangladesh it is still like that. And Prabhupada says it here. From the very young age, from the beginning of life, the girl is called mother, even by the own father. Why is that? You tell me, why is that? Come on, girls, just concentrate. Just stop it. Huh? Yeah, but just cool it down, huh? Because it's very distracting for me. I'm trying to bring something deep across here, and if you do all other things here, it's disturbing. So, you answer. Why is a father calling his 2-year-old daughter mother? Give me the answer.
Because except for his wife, he has to see every female as a...
Even his own daughter. And what other reason? There's a few more reasons.
She must learn to care and love all family members.
Yes, because we just discussed how important mothers are. So, a young girl is right from the beginning, she is trained to play this role of mother, because it's the most important role. You see? Yes, that's why, you know, even a father will call her 2-year-old daughter Ma, mother, just to help her to take up that role. And of course, young girls, they feel greatly honored when they're called mother. They want to be mother. You know, I remember when I was young, you know, I had this life-size doll, and I was taking the clothes from my brother. He's 7 years younger than me, so I was 7 when he was born, so I used all his clothes to dress my doll there, you know. And I was practicing on the doll there to be mother, you know. So young girls want to play that, you see. Yes, and we should encourage it. so that they play this role perfectly later, you see, because it is such a super important role. See, that's why, even young girls should call each other Mataji. Now, since I'm understanding all this, I call everybody Mataji, just to help, to help remember, to remind the person that we should act and serve in the mood of mother. You see? And that's not only in physical sense. It's not that everybody has to have, 10 children and be a mother. But no, even in a spiritual sense, even as a preacher, I always have this mood of being mother. You see? Yes. Very nice mood. You see? Yes. So that's why women should always be called mother. You see? Just to help us our role we are meant to play, and that we play it deeply and. So mother, highly respected in spiritual culture. You see? And of course, mother means there's no room for sexual vibrations, no room for showing off. Otherwise she's not mother, right? She's something else. See, so that also teaches the girl not to show off like this. You see? And of course it also protects the man from child abuse. Yeah? If a man calls a young child mother, that hopefully might make him think twice, about doing something inappropriate there. You see? So, Krishna's system giving so many effects there to keep everything stable and harmonious and strong. Okay. So, what else? Let me see what we have here. Yeah, so basically we women, we have to learn how to act as true mothers. See, mother's mood is I'm last, everybody else is first, right? The mother will eat all the remnants of the plates of the children who can't finish their dinner or something. She will happily eat it. She wants to see all the kids first satisfied and, you see. That's why Prabhupada says, mother's love is the closest to pure love in this material world. So, yeah. Okay. Actually, one more little story from Bangladesh. I hope you don't get tired of it. Once one senior brahmachari was saying to me, our Guru Maharaj is our father and you are our mother, and mother more important. And I was a little surprised. I was thinking, wow, really? Mother more important than the Diksha Guru? How is that? And I asked him, really? And he put his hand on his heart and said, yes, mother more affection. Yes. Wow, and that really left a deep impression on me, I thought, wow, isn't it amazing? If we play our role as mother properly, according to our capacity, we can even be more prominent in people's lives than the Diksha Guru. You see, God, what else would a woman want? It's in a way very similar to the family, In a family, the father is the official family head, but who runs the show? It's the mother, right? She, through her service, through her cooking, she conquers everybody's hearts, and she basically controls through her devotion, through her service, through her selflessness. Everybody wants to please her, everybody will do what she says, and so on. You see? But she agrees to let the father be the official family head, no problem. But ultimately she runs the show, yes. Yeah, so mothers, very, very important. Actually also once Naranja Swami shared something with me. There is one Prabhupada disciple called Isha. She actually left her body a few years ago. She had a stroke and then she ended up in some nursing home and she left her body. And once I was discussing something with Naranja Swami, how we have to care for our elder devotees and then he was once saying to me, yes, Mother Isha, she is my mother in Krishna consciousness. I don't go anywhere without remembering her. That's what he said. And I thought that was very remarkable, that he shared that like that. I saw photos of Mother Isha. She must have been around 50, 55 or something when Naranja Swami joined as a young bhakta in Boston Temple. And I saw photos of her. She had a pretty round face and she was transcribing Prabhupada's Prabhupada's purports. He was dictating and so many devotees were transcribing. So, and she must have been there like the mother in the temple, making sure the boys have their hot milk and the warm socks and whatever not, you see. And yeah, that left such impact on him that he still feels like this today, that yes, she is my mother in Krishna consciousness. I don't go anywhere without remembering her. That's what he said. You see? So it shows how important this function of mother is. You see? But of course, again, we have to be careful that how we apply this. We can't, in the name of being mother, having something else going on. Very easily that happens, similar like in the name of protecting a woman, something else can go on. So I'm simply sharing insights, simply sharing insights. And well, best is to really start, developing within ourselves this mood of mother. Really, basically meaning no sexual vibrations, no showing off. That's the number one thing. Otherwise, it's not mother. And plus, we have to be properly situated. As soon as there's some unfulfilled emotional needs, then very easily, we try to fulfill them through our relationships, and then things become all mushy and contaminated and so on, Yes. Okay, well, do we have any questions? Any comments? There must be something. See, because mothers are such important persons in spiritual culture, that's why my vision and understanding is that this is one point where we have to start actually to re-establish this important role of mothers. Yes. As long as this is not there, we will never get anywhere much with establishing spiritual culture in our ISKCON society. That has to be preached. And that's why, this year when was it? February, March, early this year, we had a program in Mayapur. Every year we have an annual program of this Institute for Spiritual Culture. And we had this program at the Goshala. We built a big pandal and we had a program there. The topic was celebrating the glories of our mothers. Yes, it was very nice. If you go on that website, there is a video of the whole program. You can watch it there. And we had several Maharajas speaking with highly appreciative words about the role of mothers, of women and mothers. And Bhakti Pushdam Swami, I remember it was very sweet. He was describing, because he grew up in the village in Orissa somewhere, and he was describing, yes, village life, and the mothers' mood towards mother is so different than towards father. And he was saying when the father comes home, oh, it's like Narayana's coming home. There's this awe and reverence and fear, okay, Narayana's coming. But mother, you feel you can run to her, you can tell her everything, she is the mother. Completely different feeling there. Yes, yes, different emotion, Yeah, and he was very nicely, he was describing that, so you have to go and watch it if you like, Yeah, so that's the thing. And afterwards, some Prabhupada disciple ladies were there, and they shared with me afterwards that this program was a whole revolution for them. They had never heard Maharaja speaking so respectfully about the position of mother. Yes, and they were saying to me, please tell these Maharajas wherever they should preach about this, and then maybe something, will change there, and people will learn to understand, Yes. Yes. Okay, so, any question? Nobody has a question? Can't be. Usually there are always so many questions there. Or you want to go home or something, is it? You're waiting, when is she finally finishing and shutting up? Well, I'm just quickly looking here if there's anything. Oh yes, let's mention that. I forgot to mention that. That one little thing which is a little confusing to some devotees is the fact that Prabhupada actually did call some ladies in America Prabhu. He did. And that brings a lot of confusion in, that these ladies insist Prabhupada was calling us Prabhu, and that's the way how women should be called. Yes, so. But Prabhupada is never writing that. He's nowhere writing that in the Bhagavatam. There's no lectures where he says a woman should be called Prabhu. But he was calling some ladies Prabhu. It's a fact. So we don't want to speculate why. Who are we to know why he did that? But Prabhupada did so many things in the beginning. He also initiated, the first initiation Prabhupada gave was just at the Sunday program. He initiated everybody. People didn't even know about the four regulative principles. They found out afterwards. And Prabhupada gave sannyas to, 22-year-old boys, I think Jayapataka Maharaj was 22 or something when he got sannyas. Prabhupada did so many things just to get things started, yes, I once wrote a whole article about this topic of Prabhu and Mataji, because it is really a big topic in ISKCON. Probably you don't know this here so much, but it is a big topic. It is a big topic. Sometimes I have come across that men become so insecure they don't know anymore how to address a woman, and they're afraid to do the wrong thing, And as we discussed yesterday, it's very painful for a man to be the loser in the eyes of a woman or something. So the men are afraid to do the wrong thing. So sometimes people have addressed me as Devaki Mataji Prabhu. Take your pick, whatever you like better, Devaki Mataji Prabhu, just to make sure, they're not saying the wrong thing, And one point, we can say is, because in materialistic culture, women are losing their valuable contribution of being the first guru and creating that spiritual atmosphere in the home, and they have become, neglected and disrespected, actually, That's why calling a woman Prabhu could be seen as a feeble attempt to give her more respect. But actually, it brings us only further away from spiritual culture. So, not really achieving what it should achieve. But I think this is why sometimes men, who don't know so deeply the culture, they call women Prabhu just wanting to be respectful. Sometimes I get these letters, Dear Devaki Prabhu. Yes, quite often I get them. Yes, you're laughing. For you it's hard to imagine, right? Well, see, this is again how things are like day and night, Yes. But very clear, Prabhu, even from a linguistic point of view, is always male. You can't use Prabhu, it's a male declination. It can't be used in referring to a female person, right? We don't say Radharani Prabhu or Saraswati Prabhu or something. It's always Mother, Shri, Srimati, Mother Parvati, Mother Saraswati, It's not Prabhu. No. Yes. Okay. Well, if you don't have any more questions, maybe then we'll just leave it at that. What we can quickly do, personal exercise, turn to your neighbor, share what this session gave you. We discussed in the afternoon the shyness. Huh?
Shyness plus tolerance.
Yes, tolerance we had before lunch, shyness we had after lunch. So this afternoon we were talking about shyness and about the whole mother thing. So quickly share with your neighbor. What are you taking out of here? What realization do you have? Just 2 minutes. Quickly share something. When you share, that deepens your realization.